Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank Podcast. He's back, and we have a lot to chat about, mostly because he is a man of Amish mentality, a man close to our hearts, close to our souls. Probably, I don't know how the Amish religion believes in, if they believe in a heaven or a hell, but to each is their own. Welcome back, Amish Phil.
Hello, Robbie. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got a lot for you today. So, did you see the
Oh, hang
scientist?
on. It's saying I had to click a button there. It's saying
Yeah,
Okay, I have to give you my consent.
that's what you got to do now. It's like
Oh,
Audacity.
that's
Audacity's
new.
updating.
Oh, Smeg. Sorry about that.
Did
I
you
didn't even notice it, so I hope it recorded that bit.
did you the Audacity part? Audacity's updating their terms and services to now they're going to sell your data that you use.
Sell your data?
Everything
Data?
everything that you insert into Audacity to edit is also can be sent and sold, and it's also for legal purposes. Is their fifth bracket that they added in there. They said for it could be used for legal reasons as well too.
No way.
So we can't
This is
talk
because
about
it's.
any
Can
of
you
the Amish people.
can you pay for a license from Audacity, which stops that from happening?
That's probably what they're going to add in, but I don't think it's what it's at. It's a bunch of people complaining about it, saying it's terrible. That it's going to be used for legal purposes, so we can't plan any killings through all that. Who edits the killing recording?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like
I
but my buddy in Australia was telling me how they arrested a lady who was Googling ways to kill her husband effectively just because she wanted the $3 million that was there. And I'm like, all right, like I get it, but who's doing a recording like, okay, I got to edit out this part where my mic made a pop noise.
Well, this is it. There are different schools of thought regarding podcasting, aren't there? Some people do. They take out every sort of piece of dead air, every cough, every uh, every swear word. I mean, it must take like an age to do that.
Well, we recorded at 3, and it's when we started to plan the recordings at 3. I edited a podcast at 2:30 and I was done.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do? What's your process
It
for
depends on who I
editing?
have on. It's like if it's
Oh, right.
if it's like a cough, or if I hear something in the background, like a large one, like sometimes I'll get like a nice like that in the middle of when I'm in like a speech or something. So that I say speech because I tend to go on these rants that last like 10, 15. To me, it's like 5 seconds, but to everybody else, it's like, holy shit, take a breather. Um, but I wanted to talk
Yeah.
to you about the NASA, or the not the NASA scientist, the scientist that talked about Project Human 2.0.
Project Human 2.0. Which scientist is this?
Oh, you're kidding me, right?
What have I missed?
Oh my God. I don't want to play this and then it get taken off the thing, but this is kind of important.
What?
This is
Where have you heard? Where have you heard this
oh,
from? Is this from JRE or something?
no, it's not. This is trending right now. So apparently a
Oh,
scientist came out and exposed something about Project Human 2.0 for audience members listening. I'm searching it up and I'm hopefully going to play it for you, but I
oh
don't
my
know.
gosh, this is going viral, is it at the moment? On is it Twitter? The
Um,
main source of
Mostly everybody's like, wait, Alex Jones was right. And I'm like, yeah.
right. So this I'm getting sort of transhumanist vibes off you. This is maybe
That's what I'm
some
talking about.
form of
It's the transhumanism thing. I just got to make sure that they have
wow.
don't give me a TED talk on it. Why do they give me a TED talk? What's wrong with
What's
people?
what's the context of this thing you're trying to find? Is it a scientist talking at a conference or
Yes,
giving a right?
but the source I'm clicking right now is World Star Hip Hop. So we might have to verify this one because that's never a good one.
We'll start
Right this very moment around the world. This is the plan for all of us. This is the plan for everybody around the world. It has something to do with a topic called transhumanism, which is also known as Human 2.0. So, what is that? I alluded to that a little bit earlier. It's literally the melding of your human, organic, natural born body with artificial intelligence. They believe when we do this that it can be fantastic for everybody. It's a very futuristic way of becoming a human. Just if you wanted to learn a new language, you would just be downloaded into your brain and voila, you know the new language. If you wanted to know karate, it would be downloaded into your brain, and voila, you would know karate.
Sounds like Demolition Man.
It goes on for 15 minutes, but the title of it says female doctor expose. Hold on, I gotta pause it. Female doctor exposes Project Human 2.0, claiming people will be injected with nanobots. It says West Africans are being experimented on by Bill Gates. What are we living in? What are we living in, Phil? I don't know. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to take the escape route out, and I want to pour myself in gasoline and light myself like the guy on the Rage Against the Machine cover album. That is the easiest way to go. He had it figured out.
Have you seen that meme? And it's like a swear jar, but it's a jar full of coins, and the sticker, instead of saying swear jar, says Alex Jones was right jar.
Jeez, man, dude, I don't know what to do at this point. I hope that's a goof and someone's not screwing with me, but that's trending right now.
Is there a name for that doctor?
Let's see.
I feel like I recognize the voice. That's all. I'm wondering.
Dr. Carrie Madiji.
All right. No, I'm not familiar with that.
Speaks out on wild conspiracy claims. So maybe I just played misinformation. Maybe she's saying it's not real, but did she not hear in the first 4 minutes her saying, hey, this is what's going to happen?
I mean, she says something about melding AI with people, with humans.
What should we know eventually is going to happen?
It's already happening. The thing is, at the moment, for most people, it's here. The device is here. And when you get sick of it, you can go and put it in a drawer.
That's really weird that you grabbed it and it went off.
It didn't. That was something clinging. That was... You
got a lot. Your studio is like... would give me with OCD just the worst type of nightmare. Like when too many things are around my legs and I don't have free motion of my hips. I need my hip movements. Got to have the hip swings. When I do my rants, I like to thrust with the hips.
Yeah, I believe that is the preferred technique.
So are we just like okay with like, do you want a new eye, Phil? I can give you a new eye.
Absolutely not. Where was I going? Right. So it's a phone at the moment, and next is wearables. So lots of people have Apple Watches and smartwatches now. So it's only a matter of time before they put it under the skin. People will volunteer for it. And, you know, I'm just going to turn into Ted Kaczynski and go and live in the sticks somewhere away from all this technology, I think.
I'm not opposed to doing that. I'd start a farm of crocodiles and just have a bunch of them around my property.
For security.
And always...
Or just for...
Well, I mean, for personal purposes. What do you mean security? I don't need security on my ranch. I got guns. You can't take my guns away from me. That's the next step.
Well, yeah. Well, it depends who you believe, you know.
Can I just build a house in the middle of Stonehenge where all they're surrounding me?
No, I think it's a World Heritage site. So, yeah, people would not look very... fondly on you building a house in the middle of Stonehenge.
Whose heritage?
I think the world's our collective heritage.
So then I can do it because it's part of my heritage, right?
No. Well, you're not entitled to ruin everyone else's heritage, Robert.
I'm not ruining it. I'm making it better. I'm going to do maintenance on it.
You're going to put a pool table in.
It's kind of like, you know, when they have like, if they have people like, you can live on the property if you live in the shed, but you got to take care of the property if you're going to live here. That's what I would do. I would just build a shed and then I would take care of the property. And then I would start crafting everything into my image. So slowly the pieces of Stonehenge would start forming giant Robbies everywhere.
Wow. Your own cult. What would be the requirements? What would be like the 10 commandments of the cult of Robbie?
First of all, I like the word cult, but it has some dark undertones to it. So let's change the name to community. I like that. It comes off really, really well.
Yeah, so it's inclusive, isn't it? Inclusive sounding.
But I like a community aspect of things. I don't want people to do what I say. I just want people to just worry about themselves at sometimes. I feel like that's like the hardest thing to do is asking someone just to worry about themselves. Like if you got a family, worry about your family, but don't try and control someone else's life. That's like the hardest thing for people to do is just to keep, you know, their opinions to themselves.
Right. So not so much look after themselves, but keep themselves to themselves.
I'm making sure my phone's right beside me because if I say something in this podcast, I want to get advertisements for it.
All right.
So I'm hopefully
Doesn't-
going to get a timeshare in Stonehenge if we keep talking about it enough.
No, I don't know. What would be your membership criteria?
how, how tall are you?
6'1".
Oh, hell yeah, you're coming in the group.
Is that it?
Oh,
Just height.
I got simple questions. I look at you. We accept everyone. I look at you, see the most common thing about you. The obvious thing is how tall you are. I don't know what type of hair do you have. It's not going to be like Hitler style.
Gray.
It's just going to be freaking, I'm going to point out what you already have. So you're like, I have that. You're like, yes, you're accepted. So you feel like you're special. You're the only person that would probably have that distinctive feature that I would say that everyone's like, how'd you get accepted? Well, I'm 6'1". That's it. I had to have a 7.62 credit score. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
What would be the sort of worshipping criteria, schedule? How often would we have to pay homage to you in your
I don't want any
unity?
units.
Do you not?
I want the Mortal Kombat ring we talked about in the first episode. Fight to the death.
Oh, I'm not asking for much then. Oh, I won't fancy my chances then.
Maybe name your
Especially if everyone's
child after me. Is that a big deal?
What's that?
Name your firstborn child after me. Is that a big deal?
Yeah.
You can have another one. I'm not limiting you to just one.
No, we're not going to China just yet.
Okay.
The one child policy. Maybe I get you. It doesn't have to be the first name. If it was like a middle name, then I think you could get away with that. If everyone in the cult, the community, had a middle name, Robbie.
What's your
Roberta?
What's your plant spirit?
Plant spirit?
Yes, we're not doing animal spirits to this cult. We're gonna have a plant spirit.
God, I don't know any plants.
You strike me as like a nice mahogany.
Oh, a rich mahogany.
A rich one.
I would say cedar.
A cedar.
Yeah.
What's your rationale for choosing cedar?
I don't know. It's quite an interesting material, cedar. It was always very prized in the ancient world. Grew in Lebanon, in like the Bronze Age and ancient times. They used to ship Lebanon's cedar all over the place. They used it in Solomon's temple. Anywhere that was any building that was high status, they would use cedar.
See, I don't think of cedar when I think of Lebanon. I think of Dr. Serene Nemi.
Yeah.
Lovely.
She's great.
Show.
She's great. She's an absolute star.
It makes me wonder, like, I want to ask so many questions about aliens, but nobody ever wants to give me a straight answer.
Well, NASA won't give you a straight answer.
I have a guy that's coming on the show who has like 10 followers on Twitter, and one of them is Barack Obama. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, hang on a damn second. He's an astrophysicist and he studies UFOs. That's his whole profile is UFO stuff. So I'm like, yo, come on now. Hang on a second. If Barack Obama is probably the realest president that'll come up to you and tell you some real shit, besides Reagan, because everything's recorded with him.
I think the problem is, I think
Reagan's
Obama
dead.
follows, well, apart from Reagan being dead, I think Obama follows about 10 million people. So,
Actually, he follows like 10,000 people.
Really?
But hey, he's got 500 million followers. You would think that 10 million following and then followers compared, it's pretty good.
I think the point is, I don't think he's checking his feed for this astrophysicist every day.
Yeah, he never liked any of his posts, but I still think that's imagine you have a profile, there's like 10 people following you and one of them is Barack Obama. That's like, what are you doing in your life? Where have you met this man? Well, he gave me like a handshake outside of Capitol Hill. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't get the Twitter thing. I did try start using it a bit more a couple of months ago and sort of to try and post regularly and see if I could get some followers, but I just do not have the time. I don't know how it works.
I don't really use my social media a whole lot besides to say, hey, I posted an episode in case anybody's not subscribed. And then.
Yeah, that's what I do. And I use the odd meme. I like posting the odd meme to Instagram, but it's, I try and avoid it because it's just poison. It's so poisonous.
Everything's just so owned now. Remember when Facebook first came out, it was like, oh my God, it's the best thing in the world. Facebook is like all these options and avenues to be as free as you want and say as much as you want. Now it's like, I only want certain things up here, and everything's so controlled now. Every app to me just seems dead. Like before, it used to be alive, where I'd be like in the middle of school, refreshing my Instagram, refreshing my Snapchat. Oh, look, titties came through. And then you keep going through. And then now all the apps just seem dead to me. I see some person put up a Facebook post saying, thinking about killing myself. And everyone's like, no, don't do it. And then I'm just like, just type do it. Just type do it. No, I'm kidding. That's terrible. I would never say that. But the Facebook is all about bitching and complaining, or someone's posting up pictures of their vacation. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. Glad you're in Tahiti. Keep it to yourself. Is that anything? Is that mean? I don't think that's mean.
No, it's this virtue signaling thing, isn't it? And people portray a false sense of their life. They put forward like an unrealistic portrait or a snapshot of their life on social media.
It's like
they always post. They don't tend to post the negative things. They post the positive things. And when you browse through your friends or whatever, and everyone's posting all the positive things, it gives you an unrealistic perspective on what is actually happening in the world, and you feel that everyone's life is so idealistic. Not idealistic, but I don't know. I can't think of the word properly, but it raises this.
Well, you used to find bad reviews, and you used to have bad things about things when it came to reviews for hotels or reviews for movies or reviews for that. Now somehow that's translated to, I mean, who writes a good review? It doesn't make sense. I used to work at a hotel, and what we do in our free time is look up the reviews for the hotel, like great place, a family thing. I was like, we just had a heroin guy die here the other day. Like, what are you talking about? Fucking family place, my ass. You get to see these reviews for places, and they don't really mean anything. But the weird part is Yelp. Yelp lies with their reviews. They get bots to, like, people can pay for bots to get review. Same thing you probably do for podcasts. You could have reviews and people can leave you fake reviews that are bots. But the Amazon shit, where someone put up all the Amazon, like the horrible treatments of the worker conditions.
Oh yeah.
And then they had a bunch of like bots or fake Amazon employees comment saying, I worked here 10 years. It's a great place. And then one dude used Mr. Dude Perfect, that one popular YouTuber. They used his photo in one of the things. And everyone's like, that's fucking Dude Perfect. And they realize it's a bot. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like when Walmart put out that sponsored ad saying it was a gay couple that were kissing and saying, we love all people. We treat all our employees and give them fair opportunities. Then anybody that's ever worked at Walmart for the brief 2 months you worked there comments saying you're a lying piece of shit. And that's what I like. People calling out businesses on their bullshit.
Yeah, it's just so easy to game the system. That's the problem. And so you can't sort of rely on reviews to give you an honest appraisal of a product or a service. And like you said with podcasts, there's this thing called Fiverr, I think it is.
Yeah.
And people, we get messages from people saying, I'm a podcast promoter on Fiverr, and I'll get you, 50,000 downloads or 50 million likes or whatever it is. And, it's not genuine people listening to your podcast and liking it. It's just, like you said, it'll be bots, won't it? It's just a software. But people must be doing it.
I'm not mad at people tricking and finding a way past the system to make their business something that maybe it's not, putting on a false persona. But I get upset when people take advantage of other people and do horrible things in the businesses that they do. Now, that is some corporations, obviously, but like, I know so many people that have so many problems with different platforms. Like I know people that use Podbean. I can't do Podbean. My podcast is an hour an episode or 2 hours sometimes. And they give you what, for $59.99, you get 120 hours a month. I'm like, fucking, I would be done with that in like not even like a couple of weeks. I have a week where I couldn't post an episode.
Right, I see. We're on Podbean, I think. But
it's good if you do like a weekly show, but not if you do like a daily one.
Right. I didn't know there was limits on what you could upload or the length of your
Everything
uploads.
costs money now, dude. Nothing is ever like just being productive members of society, trying to help a fellow person become whatever they want to become with the tools that they have. It's like the ninja guy, the guy that played in Fortnite, that was a real popular gamer. His name was Ninja. He always like
Mhm.
dyes his hair to all these weird colors and stuff. Red Bull gave him a $50 million sponsorship thing. This was like about a year ago to do like they remodeled this whole studio, gave them this amazing studio like yourself with lights, but it's all designed by Red Bull, and it looks like a giant like game show type scenario. Like Steve Harvey would come out and read you off like all these Family Feud type categories. Had sex with your sister for 500, but you
Yeah.
start looking at this thing and you're wondering like, why is Red Bull doing this? And then they were probably planning for this Olympics that's happening in the States over here. They thought video games were going to be added in. So they gave the kid all this stuff, knowing that he's going to pick them to represent him in the Olympics because he's one of the top gamers and streamers. And then they never added the Olympics. And then next thing you know, Red Bull pulls out of their deal, just stops dealing with the kid. And then now he joins this other, like it was like a Discord or some type of like, it was a new server that was coming out. It was a streaming server. It only had a few couple months that it was available for. I don't remember what the name was, but he ended up getting a $50 million or $500 million deal to go join that server and leave Twitch, leave everything. He did a whole press
Right.
conference where he left Twitch. It was a big event. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, let me find your gamer headset." I'm like, "All right, cool."
Mm.
But he joined it. It was up for like a month. He was limited to only streaming on their service, couldn't do his own streams outside of his thing. Then the whole company went like just shut down, just quit. So he has free money, and now he's able to work for whoever he wants, which is a stroke of luck. But then now everyone laughs at him because he's banned off his top favorite game. It's like if I gave you the best game you were amazing at, you got caught cheating, and then you were banned from that game. You trying to play a different game you're not good at, you suck. And then you're just pissed off. So then now everybody's just like making fun of him because all his videos are rage quit videos, screaming at his computer because he's not good at any other game.
Right. That kind of sounds like Joe Rogan going to Spotify, really, doesn't it? And everything has a catch. You know, once you sign up for a sponsorship deal or you move to a big corporation, because before that he was completely independent, wasn't he? You know,
Me too.
other than YouTube revenue, you know, he did his own sponsors, he had his own advertising revenue, and he could do whatever he want. And I think that was the concern, wasn't it, when he announced he was moving to Spotify? That is he going to start censoring himself, or episodes? You know, or Spotify going to have a say in which guests he gets on, stuff like that?
I think there was a shift though in the beginning because that was seeming like a real possibility. Is they're going to change his show? Are they going to affect it? And then I think a bunch of people started calling it out in the beginning, like, why isn't Steven Crowder's episode up? Why isn't Gavin McInnes'
Ale-
episode up?
yeah,
And the next thing you
Alex
know,
Jones.
yeah, Spotify was like, all right, we can't do this because they are way too attentive to the show.
Mm. It's a risk, though, isn't it? If you even if you just rely on advertising revenue, this is well, I'm sure we talked about this last time about donations and having donations rather than sponsors and whatnot.
Buy me a
And
coffee.
yeah, yeah, it depends what you're doing it for, really, doesn't it? You know, I don't think I'm like making a product that I'm going to sell. It's just something that I enjoy doing, and if you can get some support that at least pays for it, the cost of doing it, then that's fine by me.
You're going to be an
You know,
interesting old guy. I can tell you that much.
I already am an old guy.
I mean, when you're like 90 with a cane, some kid's going to be like taking care of you and giving you jello in a nursing home. And you're going to be like, I once talked to this type of person that believed in the universal theory of everything. And you're like, what? And then you just start going off about all this podcast you used to do back in the day where you've talked to these people that, study these things or research these things, talk about Gobekli Tepe that I don't really understand.
Yeah, it's been in the news this week, actually, Göbekli Tepe, because the Turkish authorities announced, I think they'd found another 11 hills within something like 100-mile or 100-kilometer square radius of Göbekli Tepe. So there could be other temples beneath the surface dotted around. And I think they've only excavated something like 5 or 10% of the original of Göbekli Tepe itself. So lot of work for the archaeologists happening in Turkey at the moment.
Are you following this alien thing?
Do you mean the disclosure
Well, that was trash in my opinion.
non-event?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really. I sort of. I think I saw a couple of people's hot takes on it. You know, I didn't
Everybody
really.
dropped off from it. It's like there's nobody that was pushing it before, and everybody's like not interested. And like my cousins going around his what is he, Colorado, like putting up signs and billboards and doing all these huge giant advertisement, like thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to, say, check out my site. I studied the UAP. He's trying to get the UAP disclosure release and get a petition signed to get a bunch of people to actually go with it. But nobody's really interested in the whole aliens thing anymore. I think it's just because they've kind of started you up a bunch of times, but it's like an ex-girl or a girlfriend that comes over and get you going, and then right before they get down to the scene of the crime, they just leave, and you're like, oh god, I got to finish this myself. And now it's happened so many times, you're like, I'm just not even expecting it anymore.
Yeah, it was seen as a damp squib, wasn't it? They'd made some statement that I saw that they'd found. I think I'm going to paraphrase, but it was something like, we haven't found any evidence for extraterrestrial life, but we do have something like 140 occurrences that we don't have an explanation for. So it's just a bit of a nothing burger, really. And to be honest, I don't know what people expected. Did people really expect them to come out and wheel out fucking an ET and say, yeah, it was this guy, this little grey guy?
People expect so many things, so I'm not surprised if people expected like a whole bunch of information release. And like, they're not going to tell you that. Like, they don't care that much about you. What are they? Oh, we have our promise to you that we're going to release alien. Oh yeah, give me a break. I just look at it like I would love to be an extraterrestrial being coming down to this earth and having like a TV hooked up to the planet and just going, what do you want to watch today? We can look at political corruption and the fact that censorship is owning all these small town producers, or we can go over to the fact that everyone's trying to study us. They don't even have a glimpse of what the fuck we are.
That sounds like intergalactic cable. Do you ever watch Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, was it season 2 where they did that episode on intergalactic cable? All the weird stuff that's happening in the universe.
I hope we rip a dimension open and then some bad shit comes in here.
Like what?
I don't care. I want a Mad Max scenario.
You might have your wish granted in the not too distant future, Robbie.
I don't want to ever have to stop at a stop sign ever again.
I mean, I suppose that's one upside. There's a few downsides, sort of like healthcare what? And
what healthcare do we have now?
Well, I'm in the UK. We have free universal healthcare.
I mean, that's nice.
I mean, it's not free. It's not free. You pay like 12% of your wage.
Well, I mean, I pay medical insurance. I don't even have medical insurance. So it's like, what the hell is that going to?
I mean, the thing is that there's no sort of upper limit. That you don't get a bill. You just get treated, and you don't pay at the point of use.
I tried to sign up for those programs where you get to test new medications and they pay you a lot of money. I was like, give me all the pills. Let me see all the pills. What does a pill do? Well, it's going to blend your DNA with an iguana. Fuck it. Let me take it. Then my eye pops out of my head. I'm like, but you couldn't find any of these places to actually do this in my area. So I was like, where do I got to go? Well, they're mostly doing them in Washington. I'm like, are you keeping me close to the Capitol in case I turn into Godzilla? I can just start wrecking shit.
Did you not sign up for like the Pfizer or the Moderna or clinical trial?
I didn't sign up for anything that's going in my arm.
No.
It's got to go in the back of your arm. I want you to stick it in the tip of my foot. Why the tip of your foot? Because I just want the tip of my foot.
Oh, I don't think that's how it works, Robbie.
I want the pain farthest away from my brain. There's a girl that I used to work with. She's on the bone marrow donation list to donate bone marrow. And she goes, yeah, if they ever call me, it's till I'm in my 60s that they'll have a chance of calling me just randomly. And I'm like, what happens if you get called? Like, that's kind of something I'm on the bone marrow donation list. And then someone actually calls you out on your shit and they go, all right, we got someone that needs your bone marrow. You're like, oh my God, I was not expecting to be called in. Like a volunteer firefighter, they don't expect to be called in. It just kind of happens. It's kind of how I feel about I love the fire department, but I don't know.
It's it's supposed to be super painful as well, the old bone marrow job
Yeah.
as well, from what I've
It's
heard.
extreme. They pay for your hotel room, they pay for your flight, they pay for your food, and then afterwards, when you're sitting in your hospital bed because now you're in the position that the person was in because they took too much. Yeah, you're kind of like on your own at that point.
Oh my word.
It's
Do
like
you know,
that
I've been
the girl that smokes the weed and she's deflated on the couch. That's you without any bone marrow.
God, I think I've been so lucky. I've never really had any health scares yet. I mean, I'm not 40 yet, but you know, you hear about other people, you know, far younger than me who've been through all sorts of heinous shit, and you just think, crikey, you've got to be grateful for what you have, haven't you?
People that have heart attacks at the age of 30.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I sent you that video of this really famous guy. I'll have to let me search up his name real quick, but he was playing the xylophones and it was like in the
Mm,
40s or 1940s or whatever. Dude,
right.
it's so good where it's like, okay, well, when did this guy die? The dude died when he was like in his what's his name? His name is Teddy Brown,
Right.
but he plays like really good like jazz, all this type of stuff. He died like at the age of 40. And this was like back in the day. And I was like, yeah, that was like the max age back then was like 40 and 50 years old. People didn't really live past that. Like you were seen as like a legend. Now we have people living to 118 years old.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? But there are exceptions. There are exceptions.
What, that you look like a goblin towards the end of your days?
No, I mean, people like thousands of years ago having, you know, relatively modern longevity. You know, Ramses the third, Ramses the second, I think was 80 years old, 80 something. But it's the quality of life. It's because of the quality of life, I think.
Would you rather
We
have a
have,
fast life that was amazing, or would you rather have a horrible life that's a long one?
it's better to burn out than fade away.
And fade away.
I would like both. I would like a long and interesting life. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
But what would you call interesting?
I think what I'm doing really, meeting a lot of new people all the time and being exposed to new ideas, having a lot of conversations with people that you would never normally meet. And, you know, most people are, they're busy for a start. So they might have kids, the full-time job. By the time they get home and make the dinner and put the kids to bed, they're knackered, they're tired, and they just stick on Netflix and zonk out until the alarm clock goes off and they have to start all over again the next day. Or they spend half their life consuming sports, for example, or reality TV, or all this lot. And that's one of the biggest shifts I've had probably in my life, was sort of being more aware of how important your time is and how you choose to spend it. So I still do frivolous things. I do gaming. I play video games, but it's one night a week for 2 hours. And I play with the other two Amish boys on the headsets. So it's not like I'm just playing, sat in a room on my own playing video games. We're communicating and socializing at the same time.
What
So
the
to
hell you
me,
got
that
against people
justifies it.
playing by themselves?
Absolutely nothing. It's up
Okay,
to you how you spend your time.
that's how I play.
But to me, that fulfills a different need, psychological need,
I just want to play.
social need.
I just want to play Minecraft by myself and drown every villager I create. Is that okay? Is that okay to get my anger out?
Absolutely. But everything in moderation. How many hours a week are you playing on Minecraft drowning villages?
Maybe I don't know. I used to play like every single day, all day, and then now it's like when I got into the gym, it all translated to barely any hours playing on it. Um,
Yeah.
then podcasting. I mean, maybe tonight I'll play like 20 minutes of Forza, and then I'll just go off to bed. I don't really.
Yeah.
It's not in my realm anymore. It's not part of my world. I've cut it out. It's kind of like I haven't had bread in forever, where I don't really care for bread anymore.
Right. But what I'm talking about is moderation. Some things, if you're spending too much time on something that could be considered frivolous, it becomes destructive. It can become destructive. So, like, if you're playing every day for 4 hours, from 6 till 10 at night, from 6 at night till 10, that's time you're not getting back. And what if you've done that for a year? You realize that that's a quarter of your waking life you've spent on video games.
I agree.
And I'm not judging anyone. It's up to you what you do with your life. But I came to a realization at some point, I guess around the age of 30, that I was spending too much time on pointless shit. And you only get one go on this ride, or so we believe. Maybe you get reincarnated. I don't know.
I started noticing, I think I got World of Warcraft around when my podcast was at episode like 200 something. Like I got it back again. I had it before, then I got it back because I was like, I have so many episodes recorded. I don't want to keep I don't want to post 2 a day. I'd rather just do 1 a day. So then next thing I know, started playing World of Warcraft. I went from level 1 to level 90 in 3 days. I did not sleep. All I did was go eat, work out, and then come back and play that. Like I was just doing that. And I was like, all right, see, I need to invest this energy into something else because it's not being productive in a way. It's cool. Sure. You get to play a game and kill some time, but I want to be productive with the time that I have, because the time that I have, I feel like is a quick one. You'll blink and next thing you know, it's gone. My idea of like a relaxation or a perfect way is sitting and just eating a muffin and just watching the world collapse. I don't give a shit. I don't know. There's too much to get angry about anymore. I have to laugh at it all now. I can get interested in anything.
Yeah, you got to see the funny side of stuff, because we often cover a lot of sort of darker stuff in the news, and especially over the last 18 months, stuff that's been going on. And you have to try and find the funny side of things. Otherwise, you'll just go nuts. You just go nuts.
Sooner or later, you're going to be hanging out with someone, talking at a bar, really enjoy this person's company. And next thing you know, they look over to you because all you've seen is one side of their face and the other side's just robotic. And you're like, oh shit, what happened to the side of your face? Well, I decided to get the new Project Human 2.0 upgrade. And now I know everything from A to Z in the alphabet. Name me a letter. And you're like, J. J stands for just in case you decide to kill me, I know how to kill you first. It's like, oh my goodness gracious, what is happening? I became a government weapon death machine.
It's only a matter of time. I think, did we say it? I don't know if I said it last time, but I spoke to you, or whether I said it on our podcast, but the prosthetics are going to get so good that at some point, someone is going to say, just saw my legs off. I want the Android one.
I told you that when I was talking to my biomechanical engineer friend.
Right.
When I was bringing up the point to her of like people getting bionic legs. What happens if someone just decides they don't like their legs and they want to explode their legs off for insurance or something like that and then get new legs?
Yeah. It's only a matter of time. And people will be queuing up. People will volunteer for it. But, you can't worry about that sort of stuff. You can only look after your own.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about them doing whatever they want to themselves, but I don't want it to be to a point where I can't get a damn Starbucks because I have a normal human hand, because now the payment method is a chip in your arm or the chip in your hand.
Yeah. And they're talking about merging AI. I mean, that would put us sort of standard monkeys at a bit of a disadvantage, wouldn't it?
I can beat the shit out of anybody with a robotic part.
But what if they've got AI super smarts? They're going to be one move ahead of you, Robin.
Come at me, RoboCop. I dare you. I got a kitchen full of silverware I bought for $7.99. It was a special in that one infomercial channel where they're selling knives.
Oh my God, that's something we've not inherited, but something that's migrated across the pond to us. The old infomercials. They didn't used to exist on UK TV. Like, I want to say 15 years ago, and then a channel, maybe 20 years ago, and then a channel called, I think it was called QVC, popped up, and it was a channel that was just wall-to-wall infomercials.
It's peaceful.
It's peaceful. Is it hypnotic?
It's kind of like I don't have to worry about some person getting shot on TV. I can just watch some person sell me knives. So I can eventually buy that and stab someone.
Have you ever bought anything from an infomercial?
No, but before my grandma passed away, she had her house was littered with things you would find on TV, like a mirror with a light in it so you can do your makeup or eyeliner. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because I can do what I want with my money. I was like, good answer. Good answer.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see the attraction. I
It's
mean,
got to be something you want.
yeah, I don't think I'm the target audience, maybe.
If I showed you brass knuckles and I sold them how I would sell things, you would buy it.
Really?
Hey, Phil, you ever punch something?
Mm.
You ever want to
Yeah, a
punch?
few walls.
You ever want to punch your kid, but you decide to punch a wall?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
technically, you're not punching your kid if you use brass knuckles. It's the knuckles that are actually hitting your kid. You got to sail pitch it. You got to swing with it. What are people going to use this product for? If you have a bowling pin, it's used for bowling, but you know someone's going to shove it up their ass. So just go to that audience.
I've got a bowling pin in here, actually.
I think that's why I probably use that as an example.
Yeah. Do you want to see my latest
You moved it around.
purchase
Are
of
those
memorabilia?
tits on
Star
your
Wars.
wall? Hang on a second. Are those tits?
Yeah, that's it's hand sanitizer. If you squeeze the tit, the hand sanitizer comes out the bottom.
I always tried to stay focused on you or the King Tut with the El Poco Loco apron.
Look who we've got here.
Princess Leia with a David Bowie.
Rebel.
That's
Because she's
cute.
a rebel.
You have too much
Yeah.
Star Wars stuff for me.
I know, but I couldn't resist. I went to this guy's house who was selling this on eBay. And he lives, as you do, because, you know, this is what you find on eBay. And he was selling this, and he lives around the corner from me, about 10 minutes drive away. So I said, yeah, I'll have it, cash. I'll come round. And I went round, and in his lounge, he had a full-size R2-D2, C3PO, and a Djarak table. Do you know what the Djarak table is?
Is Star Wars that big in the UK?
Oh, it's massive.
It's not that big over here.
I mean, this guy was obviously like a grade A Star Wars nut. But
Or
yeah,
just
I've
a
got
fan
one.
of Sky Mall. You ever check those magazines out? They got full size art. They had a globe for your it was a globe that was on a wheelie thing, like a wheelie chair, but you could spin the top off and it was a bar.
Yeah, I've seen them.
$599.
Oh my god, you can get it. You get one for a quarter of that price.
Wish.com.
Wish.
Yeah. Exactly. So they have everything, but every time I click it, they never show me the things that I'm asking for.
Yeah, I was looking into them for an ear when I first built this man cave, but I got a bureau instead. So the booze is in the bureau here. So yeah, because they are quite cool, those globe things. They don't hold very much though.
If you could design all right, so here's a little sales pitch for you. Imagine if when you're born, you get to design your own house when you become an adult, like over the age of 18, and that one house is destined for you. You will live in for it in the rest of your entire life. If you have to
Right.
move, they have to put it on a truck and move it.
Mm.
But it's your house. You get to design exactly how you want it. And then when you get married, you can get two houses combined into one.
Right. And how old are you when you're doing the designing?
You are over the age of 18.
Oh, you're 18. Oh my god, it would be a mess.
I would make it as fancy as possible, like leather sofas and couches, like a business thing with a giant fish tank that has a waterfall. So then the waterfall goes down. And so, like, under the glass table where you set your drinks, but there's no the water kind of can trickle down, but it's a giant pipe. So the fish can swim back up if they want. And then it can be like a nonstop, like, river of fun. And then I don't know. I would build some dumb shit, obviously, but at the same time, maybe I would build an altar with a giant statue of an owl like Moloch,
Moloch.
like Bohemian Grove style things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the owl deity, isn't it? I think that goes back to Babylonia. Moloch.
Well, yeah, there's that video of all the heads of state of our government that were worshiping.
Yeah.
That's
And
nuts.
didn't Alex Jones try and infiltrate it?
He's the one that took the video and released it.
Yeah. Him and didn't he take Joe Rogan?
No, they were going to go. They were planning.
Oh, right.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's the weird part about stuff is like if someone came right now to you and told you that there's a secret meeting and organization of the world and you got invited to sit at the table, would you want
Mm.
that opportunity to see what happens?
Absolutely.
I feel like there's things you don't want to know that are happening.
I'm actually a member of the World Economic Forum.
Did you sign up online?
Yeah.
It's always an online membership. I've been a freaking
Only.
ordained minister since May 14th, 2019.
Oh, yeah.
I just read it this morning. It says it on the thing. I was like, okay. I've never married a single person. It's been 2 years.
Oh, why not?
I don't
Why
know.
don't you officiate?
Nobody trusts me to give like a improv promptu freaking marriage thing. They don't know what I'm gonna say next.
Oh, well, that's half the fun, isn't it?
I'll be like, "Yeah,
I-
do you take this person to be your lawfully oh my god, let me tell you about the Chinese government. And I just start going off like, hang on, it's my wedding. You're messing up my vows. I'm like, let me tell you. Then they just leave like Kramer stroking their hand through their hair, like, what did he just tell us? And I'm like, exactly. Now you know. And I just dazzle my fingers and magic comes out and I fly up into the air.
Wow.
Isn't that what happens at
What?
weddings?
No, not over here.
Must be
They're
bar
quite.
mitzvahs.
Yeah. Oh my god. Would you not want to know if you got like an invite to Bohemian Grove? Would you not want to see what was going on there?
I definitely would go, but I also think there's some things that if you do, like, I also want to take a bunch of acid and go to Burning Man, but I would only do that if I knew I wasn't going to be alive the next day. I would want to experience as much as possible.
Yeah, I think there's been that many secret societies operating throughout history. There's definitely something to them all,
They're
and a
definitely
lot.
connected.
Yeah, a lot of them could be. I mean, there's sort of tenuous connections between a lot of them. So, like the Knights Templar and Freemasonry, there's a tenuous connection there.
I'm chatting
And
with my buddy soon. He's the last remaining descendant of Knights of the Templar. He's been on a couple. Actually, he's only been on once, so he's the second one. His last name's Tremblay, Vinny Tremblay. But
right.
I'll connect him with you. You can have him on your show.
Oh, that sounds cool. Is he? So, has he? When did he find out he was related, a descendant of a Knights Templar?
He did a search back, I think, a couple of years ago. I don't really remember all the details of the episode, but I remember him telling
No.
me he did a search back and then found out that his family was like a great descendant, like not one of the people that had a seat at the table, I would say, in the giant circle, or like this grand order. And then like he started realizing like there's a bunch of stuff like we talked about, like for the government, for instance, it just seems like they're all working off an old manuscript, like a secret way to cheat the system. Like, every game has a cheat code. They have the cheat code book. But sadly, it's like when you have a party at your house, you invite your friend, and then your friend invites a friend, and then a friend invites a friend. That's with our government. It's just a bunch of people that shouldn't be right in the seat of power, but they got an invite from a friend, and now it's been so passed down the line that they're not connected. Because he brought up a thing to me, which I didn't understand, was that he said every president is related besides Barack Obama.
Yeah, I've heard stuff like that about presidents being related to the Queen and whatnot, and a lot of them being Freemasons and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if you can verify it all. So has he gone back and sort of done loads of research on the Templars?
Yeah, he knows a lot about the pyramids too.
Right. Oh, cool.
So he'd be a great one for your show because you could just ask him all these pinpointed questions of like things that I don't really talk about on mine a whole lot. I like to like, especially I just can't. I don't have any knowledge really when it comes to the pyramids besides when I talk to an Egyptologist and the basic questions of it, but like the whole history, the research behind it. My mind doesn't go there. My mind goes to the Victorian era. My mind goes to Greek mythology. My mind goes to. I would rather be interested a little bit more in Stonehenge, but.
Yeah, that's sort of prehistory, isn't it? Stonehenge. We really don't know a lot about what life was like. This is the problem with archaeology, is a lot of it's inferred. It's inferred knowledge. They find things in the ground and then have to try and infer and extrapolate what this means. And it's so open to interpretation in that way.
Plus, I feel like recently all I've been doing is having fun by creating conspiracy theories and then trying to prove them to someone that's never heard them before.
All right. What's your latest homemade conspiracy theory?
Okay, so the one I sent you about is different from the one I just made earlier today. So let me ask you a question. How many people have you talked to that played sports in school?
Hundreds.
Okay.
Probably.
How many of those people out of the hundreds that you've talked to have had an injury, blew their knee out, blew an ankle out, blew a shoulder out, blew something out?
Probably all of them.
Okay. I think it's the turf is making the injuries. The turf is slowly seeing that you're going to be an excellent star next football player, and they don't like your look. And the thing just decides to break your fucking ankle.
Right. So grass is sentient now, is it?
Back in history, they had plant perception. They thought plants could speak. Plants had thoughts and emotions.
Plants and trees can communicate to each other, can't they?
So not so crazy now, is it? I'm slowly convincing you.
I don't know. You're not convincing me of malicious intent.
Okay, maybe it's not the turf that's sentience, but maybe someone can control the turf. We have artificial turf, fake grass. You're telling me nobody thought that they would maybe raise it up a little bit or lower it a little bit, so much to a small fraction. Like when you're mowing a lawn, you notice the hill, there's a small little hill. They do that so someone's running, they're thinking the ground's flat, and they go to step, and part of it's raised up enough to where it pulls the toes up, like when you're stretching, then their foot cracks and they fall over. And their foot's up by their head. Like when you see those horrible traffic accident videos where someone's arms like 50 feet away from their body.
What if it's not the turf? What if it's the worms?
Dude, we're developing a conspiracy theory. Help me out. Let me finalize this so I can submit it to my rough draft.
Yeah. Maybe it's the worms that are pushing the turf up.
Dude, but
you ever seen Tremors?
We got to be careful here, man. Because if we do this, there's some person out there like, they're right. My uncle broke his ankle in 64. You know it's gonna happen.
Oh dear, yeah. I've had knee issues, cruciate ligament damage, meniscus, cartilage damage. Yeah, from football, soccer.
So, in what realm is this going to be proven wrong? Watch it come out 10 years later. Slowly, the manipulation of your coach in Pee Wee football decided he didn't like your spunk. He didn't like your jive, and he wanted to raise the turf up a little bit.
Whenever someone says spunk, does spunk have another meaning in the US?
It just means like a funk to him or something like that. You got a little bit of spunk to
you. Oh, right. In the UK, spunk means cum.
Thank you for telling me. I have a lot of UK people that I talk to.
So when you say your little league coach didn't like your spunk, that's it brings a whole new meaning when you say that in the UK.
That's one of the reasons he's going to blow your knee out, is you shouldn't be blowing out all over the field.
It's like asses and fannies.
Asses and fannies, yeah.
Yeah, what a fanny is an ass, isn't it? In the States, right? Whereas do you know about the UK fanny?
No.
That's the twat. Fanny equals twat.
See, you say twat over here. Someone that's called being an idiot.
Oh, right. Twat.
Yeah.
All right. No, twat is the female genitals.
What about the hang dang? What do you call the hang dang?
The hang dang, is that the balls?
Why do you go American when you say that? Your
say
voice
what?
just goes American. Yeah.
Say?
Yeah, you sound like an American when you said it before. You said it with like a southern twang to it.
Sorry, I should stick to my northern Game of Thrones. Pussy. It's a pussy.
So brutal when you say it too.
It is. The northern English accent is quite brutal, isn't it? I think that's why they chose it for Game of Thrones for the North men, because they were battling the elements and the cold weather, and we're northern and we're bloody miserable and the weather's fucking shit.
I like that. It's kind of like when Miley Cyrus talks. You could tell by her voice it's so distinctive because it just sounds so like harsh. It's so like it's so distinctive to her. Like when she talks, it just sounds like, oh my God, like you've been through some shit.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It's
I
not
wouldn't recognize her voice if I heard it.
if you would recognize it, dude. It's if you play that, like it just sounds so distinctive to them. Like I think my voice can probably be replicated for sure, but there are some voices you hear that are just like so distinctive. Like my buddy G, who was on here a long time ago, his voice sounds like the guy from movie trailers. Like when he talks, it's like
Oh, right.
the giant deep voice. That was his normal
This
voice.
summer.
Yes, that was his voice.
Mm.
That's like nuts.
That is a gift, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think that
Or a
is a
curse.
definite. I think it's a gift to have a unique voice in some ways, or
Yeah, I
a
mean,
voice.
you don't want the common normal one that everyone can do.
No, yeah, I would. I think, yeah, I suppose I was thinking about impressionists. Then
That's what I'm
they
saying.
tend.
Trump, people like his impressionist more than they like the actual fucking dude. I would put a
Yeah.
bullet in my head if someone did an impression of me and it was better than me, and then they like that person better than me. I like that, Robbie. It's like, oh my God, I might as well just end it now.
Yeah, most impressionists tend to sort of exaggerate the voices, don't they? They pick out certain idiosyncrasies of the person's voice and then sort of accentuate them. There's very few impressionists who are really good and sort of nail an impression without over exaggerating it. That guy, Kevin Pollock, he's pretty good, isn't he? Do you know Kevin Pollock, comedian? No, I'm trying to think what he was in. I think he was in True Lies in 1992, but and he was in A Few Good Men. But he's really good at doing sort of like Al Pacino and a lot of the classic impressions people do without going over the top.
I
You know,
do a
like
good Christopher Walken, and I do
oh dear,
yeah, you've never heard it before?
no,
Oh my goodness. The best part is when they were interviewing Dave Grohl and he goes, "What's your best moment about like like working with Christopher Walken?" Because apparently he introduced him in a show. And he goes, "Well, he asked me when did we do the emphasis on the foo or the fighters?" And then he goes, we told him it was on the fighters, and he goes, "Now introducing the Foo Fighters." And he does that. And it's like the greatest thing I've ever heard. I was like, yes, that is perfect, Christopher Walken.
He's one of the hardest to do because his cadence is so fucking batshit crazy. Like you said, the way he emphasizes words and the way he says a sentence, he'll put pauses in the sentence where they shouldn't be. It's like it's just a weird. It's a fucking weirdo,
It's like
basically, isn't
Captain Kirk
it? Ah,
from Star
yes.
Trek.
Yeah, yeah.
There
William Shatner.
was a piece of evidence in a basement with a body and it's like, what are you doing? The pauses, bro. I used to be able to do a really good Barack Obama, but then I lost it.
Oh,
It's
you got to
like-
lose it, have you? Lose it. Is it a case of lose it or use it?
Yeah, it's
Use
kind
it
of
or
like you have
lose
to
it.
keep practicing it, or then it just comes. You got to remember what the vocal range is. Like when I was a kid, I used to be able to do the whistle like this, where you could cup your hands and whistle through your thumbs.
Yeah.
And I can't do it anymore. I haven't done it in years. So when I try and do it, it's like, it's just so off. But it used to be so fine tuned, so loud I could have it. But like my Barack Obama's like, my fellow Americans gathered here today to, and he just does that long like pause type thing.
That's really good.
I found out I have a Matt Foley too. If you want to hear my Matt, you know who Matt Foley is?
No.
He was Chris Farley's the living in a van down by the river on SNL, the motivational guy.
Right. I don't know. I'll
Damn.
probably know him if I saw him.
Yeah, well, Chris Farley's dead. So
Yeah, we don't really get. We don't. SNL isn't a thing over here.
It's not. You're not missing out.
You
That's
know.
a very corrupt business.
I mean, I can think probably the most famous SNL scene I can think of from recent memory is the it's Christopher Walken. It's More Cowbell.
More cowbell.
Yeah. And I bet if you asked 100 people in the UK about that scene, maybe 5 would know what you were talking about.
Well,
It never took off over here, SNL.
That's like SNL is a really, if you hear Jim Brewer on Joe Rogan talk about SNL, I mean, everyone has a bad SNL experience, mostly because like Jim Brewer talks about he was writing a bit and people would come in and be like, "What are you doing, Jim?" And Jim's just like, "I'm writing a bit." And they go, oh, what's the bit about? And he goes, it's nothing. It's Al Pacino. He's uh, telling kids the story dressed as Santa Claus as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then they go, oh, that's interesting. That's cool. And then they end up leaving, and then they go on set to practice their skits. And then someone's doing Jim Brewer's skit, but it's not Al Pacino. They replaced it with somebody else. It's a different, like Steve Buscemi or something. And then he's like, that's my bit. And then they're looking down at a piece of paper while he's looking over at him like, you motherfucker stole my bit. And that's what they would do. And they have the password to the server. So if you're typing it on your work computer to type in your bits, they see it and then they steal it and use it without telling you. And he's like, oh, and that's what SNL is. It's a bunch of people stealing each other's bits. They don't really care about you. They don't care about making a product. They care about getting seen by somebody and then getting a movie deal and getting a record deal or getting whatever the hell that they want based on their performance on doing the skit.
Right. So SNL is a stepping stone, because I would have thought for most comedians that would have been the pinnacle at one point in time to get on SNL, but now it's seen as just a stepping stone to be like that actor, that short guy, can't remember his name, but he got on
Danny
SNL.
DeVito.
Not Danny DeVito, no, he did the oh my god, I can't think of films he's been in. But he went on to make, he got on SNL, and now he makes films. He got cancelled off the Oscars. He was meant to host the Oscars, I think,
Ricky
last
Gervais?
year. No, it's gone.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, that's the one.
I got you.
Yeah.
I brought you back.
Yeah, but that sort of launched his career because he was on SNL, wasn't he?
Well, he was on SNL, but he was already pretty famous before SNL too.
Right.
His whole thing was that he had a tweet that they pulled up 10 years ago that stopped him from doing the Oscars and stuff like that. And he did his new comedy special out of the basement of his house. This is the issue, is like the idea of fame back in the day was getting on a show and then hopefully being able to make your own show or being able to be in a movie deal, or someone would caught a glimpse of you when you begin acting. Now it seems like we talk about the whole controlling aspect of everything. The best thing you can possibly do is stick out as hard as it is possibly going to be. Make sure that you don't have anybody controlling your shit, even if they toss money at you saying that they're going to make you $1 billion or all this type of stuff with your podcast. Keep producing for yourself and stick it out. That was Joe Rogan's thing of sticking it out till he was by himself, and he ended up getting the Spotify deal later, but they don't control any of his shit because he already built up a fan base and a loyalty where people don't want to do that. With movies nowadays, Adam Sandler, he ended up making all of his own movies now because SNL gave him his start, but it's not the same template it was 20 years ago. Now it's way harder to be able to do anything and make something for yourself because everybody wants a piece of what you got. Imagine Chris Farley. Chris Farley could have been this amazing thing, but he obviously had the drug problems. But at the same time, people were keeping him pegged into one spot. They weren't letting him elevate anywhere else. It's like Elvis. His manager would not let him travel outside of the country in fear that he was going to get sucked into another country.
Yeah, and the thing is with Hollywood is that once they find a formula that's successful, they don't want to deviate from that. That's why we keep getting all these sequels and superhero movies and whatnot.
Fast 9.
Oh, God.
I saw it. It wasn't that good.
Running on empty.
I'm not really a fan of that. But the weird part is when John Cena apologized. Because
I heard about it.
So Alex Jones called that
in Cantonese, wasn't
in Mandarin.
Mandarin.
What is it? Alex Jones called that when he was on the episode with Tim Dillon almost a year ago. He called it. He said China owned Hollywood, and then he kept ranting about something else. Then that video comes out, proves that. But the weird part is $160 million went to the opening day of Fast 9. 30 million of that was American, and 130 was from China. But China just banned YouTube. China banned everything recently because they don't want any of the people getting any different perspective of what the government has.
Yeah, you won't see any Chinese villains in a Hollywood blockbuster, for example. And there was a big controversy. I think it was when the last Star Wars film came out, and they had the three main characters on the poster. And from what I remember, they shrunk the character of Finn on the Chinese poster because he's black.
it's so strange what they would consider like it's bad in their eyes. I mean, it's even with us with our words, for instance, certain things mean certain things in different places. And it's just how we view things. It's so creepy because I watched Jackie Chan's like story about why he kind of took a break on acting. He's not trying to get into any more acting roles. And it was because they always cast him for the same stereotypical thing, a guy who doesn't speak that good of English and then
Yeah.
just starts, it's always the same roles. He goes, I'm better than that. I can be anything. I could do that. And then it's so weird how media is now, where it's like slow manipulation, slow brainwashing, where you end up finding out why they said this and it actually means something you didn't even think meant something.
Thing is, there's so much money riding on these movies now that they can't afford to take a chance on something. They have to get the bank. They want guaranteed bank. And that's why, sequels are so popular. And it's just not just movies, sports. China owns sports as well. That's been shown with, was it Nike who were in trouble recently?
Yeah, they well, that was like with the anti-Asian hate thing. They just asked because I think I've talked about this plenty of times before, but America got a shipment of 13 tons of human hair. Um and well, Trump and his offices, they seized the boat and they sent it back. And then China called us racist because we figured they have Uyghur Muslim camps there, like these camps that are just people taken from their homes and put in there. And we knew that that's probably where it came from. And they called us racist and they cut off. They actually threatened not to make us masks because a lot of our masks were coming from overseas.
Yeah.
So they were saying that they weren't going to do that. And then Nike asked about their workers getting paid over there to make the shoes a reasonable wage to live off of. And then they called us racist. You were Asian hate. And then they just capitalized on that movement that happened. It's like during the Black Lives Matter protest. If you listen to the newest Joe Rogan with Tim Dillon, dude, he talks about how nobody explained and nobody is investigating just the pallets and pallets of bricks that were sitting in the street where there was no construction happening around. And it's age of provocateurs, the
Yep.
people that the government hires to stir up something so they can start using brutal force to tear apart these riots and things. Now, some of them probably were rioters that were actually rioting, but that's what happens when a bunch of people in a group start chanting. If one person starts chanting, everyone starts coming in, you start doing it. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of it. I mean, during the Capitol Hill thing, they were opening up the doors, the cops were. You're like, wait a minute, what the hell was that? But nobody's investigating that shit.
Yeah, and you see them, they stay walking in between the red ropes when they're walking into the Capitol building. I mean, it's not a riot, is it? Did you see the video of the Umbrella Man during the BLM riots? The Umbrella Man? There was a guy, someone was filming outside a store, and just in the in the background, you see this guy all dressed in black like a gas mask on, holding an umbrella for some reason, and he's got a claw hammer, and he just walks along the shop front, just smashing every window, and the guy with camera runs up to him and goes, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And he just walks away, just barges him out of the way, gets out of there. We know they do this, these dirty tricks.
Then why did people still say it's a conspiracy? The Jon Stewart thing on the Tonight Show, did you watch that?
Was that when he was talking about the lab leak?
Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
person on here tell me it's bullshit. It's a conspiracy. He's spouting. I'm like, is it though? Shouldn't we look into it? Like, really? Like, how many that Australian scientists that came out saying it was bullshit or it wasn't possible that it came from that, and then not even a day later, one of the scientists talks about, yeah, it is possible. Like one of the people from Wuhan, one of the actual people, like there's defectors of people leaving there that talk about this is all possible. And you get one person that looks like they're reading off of a fucking script. Did you see the video with all the Zhaojing or whatever the place was in China? And some dude grabbed every single one of these videos. It was like 5,000 videos. Dude, single-handedly these videos, I hate that I'm talking about this again because of political stuff. I try to take a break, but you got to suck me back in. They're talking on a microphone. They go like this on like a phone recording. They go, "Hi, my name is yada yada," and obviously in Chinese or Mandarin, whatever they're speaking. And they start reading off like, "Here's my name. This is my wonderful home. This is my wonderful family. This is everything." And it's a normal video of a person saying, "Our country isn't bad. It's an actually amazing place." Then some person took the 500 or whatever videos there was and made them back to back. And then he put up in the corner, here's the script: name, place you're from, show your family, show your house, and then end with everything's fine. And each video followed that script to a T. There was no improv at all. And even when they're kissing her own family, everyone's like eyes wide open, like smiling, like they're like being gunned to the head. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know if this is just propaganda, if it's conspiracy, but you start looking at it like, I understand this is a thing that happens over there in a totalitarian government, and we're not going to be able to change that. I don't want to change that, but I don't want that to happen here. Because if you think it's not going to end up spreading over here, when a corporation that doesn't give a shit about you, they just want your money, sees a better way to run the system where you fall in line and you do exactly what they say, it's the issue of power. Power corrupts so much that when you have the power, you want people to do exactly what you say. If somebody tells you no, it's way better just to exile that person or find a way to get rid of that person.
Yeah, we're what is it? Freedom isn't free, and you're constantly walking a tightrope. And there's someone, I can't remember who it was, who said, if you want to know where the West is going to be in 10 years, look what's happening in China now, which is a scary sort of thought to contemplate. But yeah, it requires vigilance, doesn't it? Because as we've seen over the last 18 months, given the chance, a lot of governments will break with conventions and implement policies that previously they never would have even dreamt of. They wouldn't have even considered they would ever get away with it. But given half a chance and given the opportunity, they will do. And this is why, you know, you get laws in this country where the government's telling you who you can hug and who you can't hug. It's like, I can't believe we've got to this stage, but here we are. And, you know, we had about 1 million people protesting in London on Saturday. Nothing in the papers, nothing in the media. Crickets. Because, you know,
you can't, the main thing God could never do is control free speech. So why does or not free speech, free will. So why is it that a fact of a government's trying to act like they have the right to be able to do so?
Exactly. It's the old, you know, people will do stupid shit. You know, this is why prohibition doesn't work. You go back to the first prohibition, thou shalt not eat from the forbidden tree. And who was the big cop in the sky? God. And how many people did he have to watch? 2. And it still went fucked, didn't it? You can't, you know, it just doesn't work.
But, I get the laws and things that are established to protect and do all these types of things. But when do we start drawing the line of what you can do? It's really weird, the language that they use too. If you notice, the word lockdown has a different effect than saying quarantine, but they both do the same exact thing. Quarantine seems like you're helping, but lockdown is seen as like they're controlling you. It's very, very interesting how that kind of gets played in. And it looks at the words. If you start analyzing your vocabulary of the words that are programmed on your TV, things that they say and insert every 5 words or something, you start to look at the fact of like, that's really weird how that seems like that to me. Like, for instance, best with our language, my language in this country means something different in your language in your country. It's weird to see like they don't follow each other's scripts to a T, but they kind of have the same basic template. Like when you're watching Loki and you see the timeline and all the branches off, that's like every country branching off their own way of trying to build off of something.
Yeah. I mean, we are very closely related though. But I do enjoy the sort of the subtle differences. I've never been to the United States.
I've never been to the UK. You want to trade lives?
No, we'll probably never be allowed either.
I'll come visit you. I'll come visit you. I don't care.
You can come and sleep in here. It's warm.
I don't want to sleep under your tit dispenser.
Yeah, you do. Not lying.
I'll cut off with Baby Yoda that you got sitting on your desk.
Yeah, Groku. Yeah, he's quiet tonight, isn't he? He's not said anything.
Hasn't said a word, except your camera keeps flickering. Maybe he's using the Force.
I know. I don't know what it is. It was worse last night. What can you do?
It's the government.
I'm such an amateur.
Such an amateur? You mean amateur?
Amateur or amateur. I mean, it's French. I guess it's a French word, so I should say amateur.
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 I like the language of French, and I also like the croissants, even though I haven't had one in ages. But you put that on a nice egg Jimmy Dean biscuit, you're telling me it's daylight and night.
What the fuck's a James Dean biscuit?
Jimmy Dean.
Jimmy, does that not mean James Dean?
No, James Dean's is like an actor or a singer, whoever
Yeah.
it is.
I didn't know they named a biscuit after him.
No, Jimmy Dean. Jimmy, not James. Jimmy.
What's a Jimmy Dean?
Jimmy Dean's like a popular like breakfast sandwich company.
Breakfast sandwich. What do you get on a breakfast sandwich?
It's like an egg sausage on a biscuit, or they do egg sausage on a croissant, or they do egg sausage on something else, or egg and bacon. It was like a really popular, it's a really popular thing in like frozen foods, like microwavable, quick, easy to go meals. But the infomercial or commercial for it was crazy because it was a guy dressed up in a sun outfit. Don't be sad. Try Jimmy Dean biscuit. The sun's up, and then he hands it to you, and you eat it, and it's like, I think it was always his family he was doing it to. They'd be like, Dad. And then it was this dad dressed up as, I was like, dads were dopey in the old commercials and TV shows. There was never a smart dad that knew like trigonometry or knew some type of shit.
No. And your breakfast, do you ever have something called black pudding?
Is that figgy pudding?
Black pudding.
Is that figgy pudding? Is that figs?
I don't know no, it's congealed pig's blood.
God damn.
Do you not have it?
What type of breakfast are you having?
I had it on Saturday.
That's Are you putting on toast?
No, I had
You're eating it out of the container?
I had bacon, egg, mushrooms, fried tomatoes, and black pudding.
What? Okay. Look, I'm not even. Are you? So you're mixing it with the eggs?
It looks like no. It comes in a sausage, like a really thick sausage.
I think I've heard of this.
You slice it.
I didn't know what it was though. Jesus, pig's blood.
You get a round disc, like a hockey puck, like maybe a hockey puck, but maybe half the depth. Off the
why are people getting upset at Ellen for eating child's blood, but then we're not getting mad at people eating pig's blood? What are we talking about here?
It's got like spices and stuff in it. It's not just pig's blood.
You think she eats child's blood raw? She probably puts something in there, like a basil or a tomato leaf.
Is this the? I can't remember what it's called now. Is this the adrenochrome?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never gone down this rabbit hole, and I'm not sure I ever want to.
You don't want to.
Have you been there?
No, but
it scarred you.
Yes, I've dipped the toes in, but then you start looking at people on movie screens. Like Sandra Bullock looks like a person that survives off that.
Yeah, I mean, what is she? 50 odd?
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
I don't even care if she uses it. She's still hot in my eyes.
Yeah. I would take. Aniston over Bullock. I think
everybody would.
Yeah, maybe,
I don't want to be scared when I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be scared.
I'd like to eat black pudding off her belly.
I'd rather have something completely different. Black pudding just sounds awful.
It's delicious. You just love it.
Sounds like if you tried swallowing it just normally, like put it in your mouth, it's like a gusher, but at the same time, it probably feels really weird.
No, it's basically just a hockey puck of congealed pig's blood fried. You'd love it.
God, it's like the movie Snowpiercer where they're eating the cockroach bars, and that's what it is. It's a fucking hockey puck now.
Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think we're going to start eating bugs?
I think they're going to make a new form of paste that's going to be cheap as shit, and people are going to love it because it tastes like burger, but it's not going to be burger.
Yeah, and it's going to be high protein.
And then I bet a bunch of people are going to die from it in the beginning because they're getting stomach viruses and intestinal cancers because of the fact they haven't figured out the right process to make the puck properly. We figured it out 10 years in. We did lose 1 million people.
Who's your current crush? Your movie crush?
I'm not talking about this on air. It's always Jennifer Aniston.
Why? Always?
Always.
No one's,
I like what I like, and I don't change what I like.
But she is getting on a bit, Robbie.
She still looks the same.
I don't know about that. I think she looks a bit like Iggy Pop, to be honest.
No, how dare you? Jennifer Aniston, Mariah Carey. And
All
then
right.
that's about it. I don't like all the other ones. The other ones seem like they got something going on with them. Oh, wait. The girl that plays in Mandalorian.
The wrestler,
The one that was.
Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Or do you mean Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica?
No, Gina Carano.
Gina Carano.
She would.
She'd kill you as well.
I don't care.
You would be dominated.
Look, spiders, when they they kill them. You know where I was going with that.
Yeah, you would be the hapless male who was executed once you've been used and your seed had been extracted.
Just like the first episode we talked about, Mortal Kombat is all I'm aiming for.
Oh God, I went back. I went and followed your advice and watched the compilation of Mortal Kombat fatalities.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's fucking wild.
I wonder why the kids are so shell-shocked today.
What chance have they got
None.
when they're being brought up on that?
It's okay. They're gonna eventually turn into AOL computers, so we don't have to worry a whole lot.
Yeah, bring it on. Humanism, transhumanism 2.0. Sign me up.
I hope YouTube doesn't flag this video.
Why? We didn't say anything controversial, did we?
No, but you're playing something that's owned content from somebody else, so when they check it, they'll block that.
No, they'll just demonetize it.
Okay,
I get this often.
Well, I'll say I'm not popular on anything. That is enough for me to be monetized. So
I play a clip from The Witcher like every week on our podcast.
Why that one?
When we ask for donations.
Yeah.
It's when we're doing our housekeeping. I'll say, come on, send us some donations.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Toss us a coin.
Valley of plenty.
All right. So with my setup that I have, it's a Behringer. It's for 4 microphones, but I'm using it for 1. I have a cloud lifter in so it doesn't explode it. And I don't have it turned up all the way. Do I need that little button pad thing with all the light up buttons on it to be able to, what does that do? Or I don't need that because I want to get it to sound it better. I feel like it sounds good, but it doesn't sound as good as it should be. Maybe because I'm not talking up to it like this.
No, it should be a fist away from the mic.
I think I'm pretty
so
close.
You're not too far away from the mic. You're fine.
So maybe my life is just messed up.
No, I think your audio's fine. The Rodecaster's just for it's easy to use and it's got the sound banks on it. We play a lot of clips, you see, in the second half, news clips and stuff.
I just figured you edit those in later. I only listen to the audio.
Oh God, no, it's 100% live. Everything's live.
That's awesome. So
the only bit
is on air.
Yeah. The only bit I edit out is because we have the interview, and then I fade the music down, and then we talk to the interviewee and say, when the show's going to come out and say goodbye and ta-ra and whatnot. And then we start again once we've been to the toilet, basically. So I just make a quick edit there. But the actual, what you hear is live. Yeah, there's no edits. Easier that way. No editing to do, you see? Other than one little snip in the middle.
That's exactly what they say before they circumcise you. One little snip in the middle.
Oh, DMP.
Is it everything you hoped from and more?
I wouldn't know. I'm a cavalier.
You're a cannonballer?
Cannonballer.
You either said cannonballer or caviar. I don't know what you said.
Cavalier. So over here, if for circumcised and uncircumcised men, if you're a cavalier, then you're uncircumcised. And if you are circumcised, you're called a roundhead. So we have cavaliers and round.
That's not what that means over here.
What's a roundhead mean over there?
I don't know. We should be talking these dirty things, you smooth son of a...
Oh, I'm intrigued now. What's a roundhead?
It is another name of a pecker.
Oh, right, yeah. So, yeah, same thing. Cavaliers and roundheads. So a roundhead is a circumcised pecker.
We're not so different, you and I.
No, yeah. It's like arms across the Atlantic.
Did you want to measure for the video watchers?
Measure what? Our penises?
Yes.
No. That will get you banned on YouTube.
That will change it, but I'll have new monetization options with OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, yeah. Are you gonna start one? You
Tom
start an
Holland.
OnlyFans?
Tom Holland, the real one.
Has he got an OnlyFans?
No, that's my profile. Is Tom Holland's OnlyFans
Oh right, okay.
from the
And
waist down.
How often do you post?
I just show ankle videos.
Right. And how's the support?
It's okay.
It's okay. It could
It's
be
doing
better.
better than the podcast, sadly. So I'm like, damn, damn.
Well, maybe you just need to spice things up a bit. Maybe show a bit of carve.
Maybe the show should just end here. Last episode ever, forever, out of the blank.
Well, on that note, I'm gonna have to go soon, Robbie.
Okay, I gotta eat dinner anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Anything you want to end on?
No. I've enjoyed our time yet again.
Amish Inquisition.
Yeah, that's the name of my podcast. If you want to listen to it.
Yeah, on Spotify, Apple.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah,
everywhere.
wherever you're listening to this, it'll probably be there.
If you like shows that'll make you think with 3 Amish hosts, that's how you do it. And if you really like to look at Amish Phil's wonderful studio that he has built with his bare hands, because that's how the Amish people do things.
That's right.
And also he's taking donations too. If you want to donate as much as you possibly can, all your money, just take all the equity and mortgage out of your home and give it to him. He will
Absolutely
use it to make sure that we are all going to be eating pig's blood at our next breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah. So toss us a coin.
Why coins? This makes sense. I'd rather have bills, $100 bills.